Welcome to the Heart of Success Book Podcast. I'm your host and author, Keith Washo. Super excited to introduce to you a living technology legend. It's Toby Preston. He's the VP of Sales at Qualcomm, one of the best, biggest tech companies in the world, both wireless technologies and chip. And he's been there for going on 20 years, which is an amazing run, both leading people and the organization to growth. It's great to have Toby here. He was also an alumni of one of the best colleges in the country. It's Penn State. My dad and my brother went there, so go Nittany Lions. Toby, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Keith, great to see you, and thanks for hosting me.
And Toby was also an awesome contributor in the book where he gave tons of wisdom and advice. So today we're going to talk about top 3 things that he said, even though it's filled with many. We're going to allow him to share some new things that have come about to give you advice from something he's learned in the last 10 years since this was published, and we'll end with a fun quote. So Toby, we'll just start right off. Give it to you, give you the floor. You said something impressive when I interviewed you on how do you become a successful person? And it was almost like a tagline you would see in a commercial. You just sat there and calmly said, be passionate, enjoy it, live it, be it, and do it. I almost want to see the Nike swoosh come up, but I'll pass it over to you, Toby. Can you elaborate on that?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't remember saying it exactly as that, but I still have a mantra because you're only here on the planet once, right? And you have to make the most of it. To do that, you have to be passionate about whatever you're doing. You have to kind of buy in and be all in. I think if you do something halfway, people know you're doing something halfway, and they're not going to follow you in any path, right? So I believe all of that, and I have a very stable team that's worked with me for a long time. So hopefully they believe in that too, or they would have bailed and gone somewhere else. So believe in where you're trying to go, buy in, and bring people with you.
Toby, that's wonderful. I think it's a testimony to your longevity at Qualcomm, going on 20 years of leading that, both people and the business. And I had the pleasure of working with you, and I always just felt empowered when I was around you. I loved the way you handled the room, no matter what the stressful thing was. It was always like you were calm, cool, and collected and ready to take the ship and let's go. I'm curious, how did you have to work on that? Is it natural for you? Does it come from playing sports, or like how would you describe that outlook you have?
It's amazing you say that because I don't think about myself in that vein, but I do believe that I listen to people. I do try to share my ideas, and I think again it goes back to if you believe in your ideas, you could share them clearly and crisply, and again, you can build some commitment from other people to follow you. So I think it just comes naturally. I don't know.
That's great. What a blessing. It's just one of those charismas and gifts. Everyone's got different ones, and that really is yours. So thank you for allowing me to have the opportunity to relate to that and work when I was working with you at Qualcomm. It was wonderful. You've always made it special to be in the office, no matter what the problems or challenges were.
Are you still getting monthly checks? Because nobody else speaks to me that highly these days.
Well, that's true. I think, but because the truth is in the pudding. A lot of the people who've worked with you they're there a long time, and that's always a testimony to your boss and leader. Because the number one reason why people leave companies is the boss. So there. Yeah. So, all right, this dovetails to the next part of the interview here. When I was talking to you about your success story in your past, I asked you what's been one of your biggest contributors to your success. And there's a lot of ways to go on this, a lot of paths. You can say going to Penn State or doing this or that. And you said one of the top contributors to your success, especially in Silicon Valley, was forming good network of leaders that you believed in and trusted. Because most importantly, you listened to these people and you absorbed a lot of the information that they would share. And so you said, be open to ideas and be flexible enough to morph those ideas into ways that can help your personal development and help others. So maybe you can expound upon that part of your success.
Look, I think your network is an important part of who and how you are, right? And I think if you look at where we are today, 10 years later, the use of social media and tools, your network is super important. I think your ability to interact with your network and spend time with people always opens your eyes to things and keeps you kind of in the moment and thinking about where else you want to go yourself.
Yeah, there's this quote that says, "Your network is your net worth." It's like basically or a rising tide floats all boats. People who hang out with eagles soar like eagles. So yeah, building that, I can see how you can relate to that. So one follow-up question I have for you on that, for people who are watching and listening, is how do you do it? Like, did you consciously and deliberately try to form a great network of leaders? Did it happen through osmosis or over time? Maybe you can share a little bit more about that.
I think it just happens finding people that are kind of commonly aligned and thinking similarly, right? I
Hmm.
I don't think it was never a planned activity. I
Right.
never looked that said your network was, super important.
Yeah.
It just kind of evolved naturally. And, I've maintained relationships that I've had
Hmm.
across my life and my career for a long time. I have friends that I've talked to for 40 plus years and I'm still in touch with and still trying to spend time with. And there are some that you don't because you end up, not necessarily aligned from a personality perspective.
Right. So that's another quote to what you're saying is the birds of the feather flock together. Good people can team up with good people, and it can just happen naturally over time just by being a great person, which you always
Thank you.
are, and I associate with. So thank you for that. Even the fact that you took time to do this when you're a busy VP of sales at Qualcomm, to take time to do a quick podcast recording is another testimony to that. So thank you. Appreciate it. The third part of the show that I thought would be fun to talk about, and this is an opportunity for you to share a personal story. And I hope I pronounce his name right. But when I asked you about a specific mentor or leader that's had a role in your life, you mentioned Grant Ridgely. Did I say it right?
Ridgely. Yep.
Grant Ridgely. And you mentioned him in the book because Grant Ridgely, you said, had a very important moment in your life where he kind of challenged you and made you do an important self-assessment. He, on 4 levels, he's like, are you fully applying yourself? Are you where you want to be? Are you giving it your all? Are you meeting your potential? And then Grant said something to you that I thought was just a home run, pun intended. He said, Toby, you're like a 700 hitter batting a 120. What's up? Or something like that. So maybe you can elaborate on that.
I still remember that. So Grant was a branch manager at Anthem Electronics back in the day, and I was a salesperson. And salespeople are kind of, self-driven. And there's no question that I was not applying myself to 100%. And
Hmm.
here's a guy who's not my family, right?
Hmm.
And he cared enough to sit down and just kind of call me out on it. And it made me
Hmm.
think, and it really did change the course of my life. And believe it or not, I'm still connected with Grant on social media, and he's still married to his lovely wife and living in
Oh,
Maryland. And unfortunately, we don't get to talk enough. But
all right.
again, having mentors is super important, and I think they leave a mark that's lasting.
That's beautiful, Toby. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that story because everyone wants to be perfect. And you're like, nah, there was a time when I was, So do you
Failure,
ever,
I was just going to say,
go
I
ahead.
think failure is a great learning method, right? I think some of us are experiential learners. You can't learn from other people's failures. You have to go figure out how to fall down and get up on your own and figure out how you move forward, right? Just don't do the same thing twice.
Right. That's well said. And then I was curious if that experience with Grant and how it profoundly changed your life. Do you has it helped your management approach? Like, does it allow you to be more transparent or have candor with some people once in a while to maybe call out others the way Grant did to you? Or do you try? I'm just curious how
I
you
don't know
handle
if
that.
I have the same nerve that Grant has. Yes, I do challenge people. I don't know that I'm quite as aggressive as he was in kicking my ass back in the day. So
But
pardon my language.
he had probably more of an East Coaster style compared to the
Yeah,
California West Coast.
he's a tremendous man. So
Yeah, great. Well, thank you for sharing that. All right, shifting gears to part 2 of the podcast. This is an opportunity to talk about what it did you learn, Toby, in the last decade since this book's come out. So that's 10 years. If you were to sit down with me now or talk to someone now, what new advice or new insight would you share that you've learned maybe in the last year, the last 3 years, that would help someone grow professionally and personally? Anything come to mind? Anything new epiphanies?
I think the only one that I would say that I've continued to learn is as you evolve in your career, and I don't think I ever planned to be a VP at Qualcomm or whatever, and was always intimidated by titles and people who
Hmm.
had titles. That they're just people. And I think again, don't be intimidated by titles. Go talk to people, share, don't hold back. And that's one things that I've learned because I deal with some of the executives at Qualcomm on a very regular basis, and you can't be shy.
That's great advice, Toby. And it reminds me of this quote when they talk about public speaking or doing sales, and you're making cold calls and you get intimidated by a big executive CEO. They're like, you know what? This helps you. If you're on the phone next time and you're nervous, just imagine he's sitting there and this guy's in a t-shirt and his boxer, just hanging out watching TV, and you're just talking to this guy to kind of reset it. And also to your
that visualization, though, just so you know.
And also, I find it fascinating that you mentioned you didn't aspire to all of a sudden become a VP or this title like what you've achieved. And that's wonderful. And I think it's a good example, if you agree, and maybe you can elaborate on this, about the metaphor that a diamond, which you become to become a VP at one of the best companies in the world, it's a little bit of a diamond there, is a piece of coal that just stuck to its job, right? You just hung in there under pressure, under fire, just kept working, kept grinding. The next thing you know, you become a diamond. Maybe any elaboration on that based on your career?
I guess I kind of buy into that. I think if all you are doing is trying to climb the corporate ladder, that won't get you there. I think it's all about do on a day-to-day basis, how you manage people and relationships, and being focused on not your own success, but a team's success, and therefore you benefit. So, my objective as a manager is to make my team successful. That will reflect well on me, and not necessarily just focus on me and making me look better. It's always about the team.
There you go. It's about the service to others, bringing value to others, and then let the chips fall where they may. And normally that kind of effort and focus will propel your career. Right. I agree. Thank you for that. All right. Part 3, the final part of the podcast, is the fun, simple one where you get to share a favorite quote or metaphor. And I know you have one in the book, so I'm not going to share what it is, but I'll give a hint. I'd love you to elaborate on it. It's regarding a swamp. So maybe I'll just throw that out there and let you share with your quote on that.
Yeah, it still resonates with me. It came from my father. It's when you're up to your ass in alligators, you forget your original objective was to drain the swamp. So in my mind, we get distracted along the way with many things that then become the urgent issue. But you forget where you're trying to go long term. It goes back to that whole thing you and I talked about, right? Always think about what's the end goal, right? Don't get distracted. Be passionate about it. The other things you'll figure out how to take care of, but don't let them take away your focus from where you're really trying to go.
I love that quote. When you're up to your arse in alligators, don't forget. Remember, we came here to drain a swamp. So really, it's also I see it as about prioritizing, like what's important versus the distractions. Another layer of insight or wisdom you want to share there as it comes to prioritizing things, like keep the main thing the main thing? Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I think that's it. But remember, right? As the water level in the swamp goes down, the alligator density goes up, right? So, you got to deal with the alligators, but you're still trying to drain all the water.
That's right. Well, thank you for that. Well, this has been great. You've been wonderful. I'm so glad that you're in the book. Thank you for contributing to it. Toby Preston, you're a living legend in the tech industry. You've been a blessing to so many people. Any final words? I'll give you the last word here for the show.
Keith, I think the only thing I would say is you're way too kind. I really appreciate the kind words and the opportunity to reconnect. It's been a long time. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Toby. So check him out, Toby Preston. He's on LinkedIn. You can see all the great work he's doing at Qualcomm. And check out Qualcomm. We used to say that it's the biggest company you never heard of. I think most people, hopefully by now, have gotten really to understand the power of Qualcomm. Just look at your smartphone. Just hint, go do some research. So Toby, thank you. We'll have people check you out. And I appreciate you being part of the book and all you've done, Toby. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Cheers.